You're faithful, faithful in all things. In every high, in every low, on mountain tops, down broken roads, you're still my rock, my hope remains. I rest in the arms of Jesus, come what may. You give to me, where hurt meets the healing is a holy thing. I see goodness, your goodness in all things. Yeah. In every high, in every low, on mountain tops, down broken roads, you're still my rock, my hope remains. I'll rest in the arms of Jesus, come what may. Come what may. Come what may. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. The Lord is my shepherd, leads me to still waters, and He restores my soul. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. Oh, the Lord is my shepherd, leads me to still waters, and He restores my soul. In every high, in every low, on mountain tops, down broken roads, you're still my rock, my hope remains. I rest in the arms of Jesus. In every high, in every low, mountain tops, down broken roads, you're still my rock, my hope remains. I rest in the arms of Jesus. Come what may. Come what may. Come what may. Come what may.
All right, welcome everyone. Yeah, so good to see you. Karibuni, karibuni, karibuni. So I hope your evening is going well. Thanks for making time for this. We will just keep on encouraging guys to come here. Of course, the ones who are already subscribed to the YouTube will get an alert on the live stream. Yeah, but we'll keep on checking on them. We still have a lot of room here, and so good to see you. Thanks for making time for this. Today we are having a session on the emotionally bold woman, and we will be participating here, so it will be a bit conversational. So I hope the guys who are coming in will keep on getting muted so that we can have a clear recording, kind of. Just want to load my screen. Lillian, not Lillian, Purity was telling me my bandwidth looks low on that end. I'll just keep my an eye on it, and then of course I'll also I also have my bundle to make my data on standby. I don't know why our Wi-Fi will be behaving like this. Just keep everything ready. So for those of us who are totally new, we've done 4 sessions. This is our last one. So we started on the beginning of this month. We have done 4 sessions. So there was where did your 5-year-old go? And then where are you feeling stuck? Yeah, and then of course, last time we were looking at our legacy, like how can you build a legacy? Like when you're no longer here, how will you be remembered and build a legacy for your life and your destiny and live even beyond where you're stuck now? So all those journeys we've taken together here in this space. Yeah, and so good to see all of you here. I hope you guys can start seeing my screen by now. I'm sharing the slides. Is anything loading on your screen?
Yes.
Awesome. So the Emotionally Bold Woman is an 8 weeks program, and today I just want you guys to experience it. Yeah, to just have this treat for you. And it's because this program is also life-changing. We launched it this year. It's one of our newest. It's the new kid on the block. And we've had 18 women go through this program for the past 2 months. It was on February and March. And amazing testimonies you'll get to hear of one tonight. And the Emotionally Bold Woman is born out of my own journey, especially for the past 2 years. I really felt like I was really struggling emotionally. I was like just the transitions of life, and of course, just the space I was in terms of my spiritual situation at that time, and of course, my environments, especially work, home. And so this is a very personal experience for me. And the Emotionally Bold Woman, currently the class that graduated, they are going through a 40-day emotionally healthy devotional. And so after you're done, I'm going to explain all this to you, and it will make a lot of sense. But the tagline of this program is, so many women just keep going around like you're not doing well emotionally, but you have to wear the smile. You have to keep on pretending. You have to wing it. You have to fake it until you make it, which is not always helpful. And so this program helps us to peel back the layers in 8 weeks. Like in terms of, if I'm not fine, I'm not fine. I will not pretend. And I really love one of the scriptures that talks about Rachel, and it describes that Rachel refused to be comforted because her children were normal. That scripture of the voice was heard in drama. Rachel was mourning over her children, and she refused to be comforted because they were normal. And honestly, it's easy for people to comfort you, for situations to comfort you. Sometimes we comfort ourselves with our job, with our money, with probably all the opportunities we have in life. But sometimes there comes that season that you need to stop comforting yourself, and you're like, I'm not fine, I'm not okay, and it's fine. I want to deal. I want to roll up my sleeves, and I want to just get better. Like, we need to come to that place that we really want so badly to experience what Jesus has promised us in John 10:10, that the devil comes to kill, to steal, and to destroy. And Jesus came that we may have life in abundance. So if you're not experiencing that space, probably this is a great space for you. And if probably you're feeling like me, perhaps I don't have emotional issues, mi nimekuja tu kwa sababu just because, because there was a free session and I'm available, or because I wanted to finish the Get Your Ball Back Strong, you're also welcome to stay in. Yeah, just follow through and then see whether you pick something. You can even pick something for someone else. Probably you'll share this with them later because we are streaming it already. So you guys will allow me to record on the computer as well, because we would want to upload it as a standalone. Last time we had a lot of copyright issues. We were actually, would I say, blacklisted? Yeah, but the copyright issues means that that video cannot be visible to someone who has never, who doesn't have the link. So we'll want to also upload this when it is on its own. All right, and so the Emotionally Bold Woman, this is all right, the Wi-Fi has started the drama. Let me just move back quickly to the bundles. Am I back? Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
It's still on mute. Okay.
Can hear you.
All right. All right. Eva, good to see you. Eva is my sister. That pretty face you can see there is my mother's daughter. I'm trying to, can you guys see the slides? You can see the
Yes.
slides on that? Yeah, sawa. So in case it's not you, let me know. Give me a sec. One second. Just allow me to set up something here. Lillian, you can probably alert guys to the group. Just tell them to keep on joining here because we will have this as more interactive as opposed to the YouTube today. So if the guys on the YouTube are also able to join here, it will be nice. So you can have everyone in one space. So our sharing time for today, we're going to answer this question. Maybe you can share on the chat. And I can see it's still loading. Give it 2 minutes. Yeah, there we go. All right, so this is our sharing question for today. What is the one emotion that you struggle with the most? What is the one emotion you struggle with the most? So you can share on the chat. If you want, you can unmute yourself and share which emotion do you struggle with the most. Maybe I can also go first. For me, it's anxiety. I think I just feel like anxiety has stayed with me like almost a relative for the longest time in my life. It's something that I really manage. I just feel like it never really goes away totally. And so like this season, probably with the book launch, that is the plans that are ongoing for the book launch that is on 6th May. And then there's also a lot of balls in the air in terms of my personal life and everything. Sometimes I feel like, yeah, the struggle is real. And so just how you are, how you keep on, what are you struggling with? Like which emotion doesn't go away? What is the emotion that you keep on feeling and feeling and feeling and feeling? Do you just like this emotion is overwhelming? So I'm going to read what is on the chat. Like I've said, today we will only stream here. So we'll encourage everyone to join here. We will not be able to do, the YouTube stream live is still going on, but then the engagement will be here today because this is a very interactive session. So let me see. Eva is sadness, and then Nancy is letting go. Nancy, letting go is not an emotion. I want emotions, my feelings. And then +1, Angela on anxiety. And then letting go and holding grudges. Those are not feelings, by the way, they are actions. Those are actions. Like that is what you do when you feel. So like letting go is an action. Is it giving up? Like in terms of, is it hopelessness, despair? Like I want to hear the emotions themselves. Even holding grudges is probably bitterness. So I want to hear the emotion part. And of course, learning to like today with the teens and the preteens that I was coaching, I was teaching them something about emotional vocabulary because we are looking at how can they track their own emotional growth, their own mental growth, their own spiritual growth, and their own social growth, so that they are responsible for checking the yardsticks, how they are doing in that. And one of the things they learn, which I want you to also go and find out from internet, is learning something called emotional chart, so that you have all the emotions that a human being can feel. It's on Google. Just go and Google emotional charts, and then you can download it so that you learn to point, like even during a scare. Yeah, because there's no even emotion like I'm feeling bad, which many people love using. Nasikia vibaya, nasikia tu niko tu. Like that is not an emotion, that is the result, it's the reaction. So there's anxiety from Carol, there's sadness for me, Nandi. Winnie Best anasema anxiety, and Evelyn is fear. Lizzie, the scare of being a failure or failing on my trials. So is that anxiety? Because that is also, I'm not sure what is the feeling there. And then Caro is anxiety. Mary Moroki, love. Hey, Mary, you are the one who has it together this evening, the only one. And then there is fear. And then Kate is anger and bitterness. Yeah, thanks for being honest, Kate. Those are sometimes huge emotions. And then there's inadequacy. Inadequacy is not a fear; it's a feeling. I don't know how. It's not a feeling. It's actually a reaction as well. Like it's not an emotion. And then there's Ruth, fear and anxiety. And then Edith, anxiety and disperse. Where disperse is new. That one bado miss jelewa. And then Lily is fear. Florence is inadequacy. That one I had read. And then there's Edith. Edith is anxiety and disperse. And then Jen Mugo is fear. And then Winnie is Salome is sadness. And then Karen is confused and anxiety. And then Philomene is anger and bitterness. Yeah, thank you guys for sharing. Sometimes we live in spaces where we never even sit down and just take time to ask ourselves, how are you feeling? You know, probably nobody even asks you that. There's a friend who called me and she was like, nobody checks on me and nobody really asks me how I'm feeling. It seems like I'm the only one who is reaching out to people and asking them how they are feeling, how they are doing, but I don't feel like I get the same back. Yeah, so we really validate this space where our emotions are valid. And thanks for sharing. So I think I'll just keep going. Those are the emotions we are struggling with this evening. All right, and then the next question is here. Which one are you when you feel mad? Yeah, Stella, I can see you've shared loneliness. So you will use one for the person who has, I don't know how we can be muting people immediately. And I don't know why people join meetings when their mics are on. Yeah, but we are managing well. So which one are you when you feel mad? So the girl with the striped top is number one. And then the girl with the, is it a peach top or brownish, is number two. So you can say 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Which one are you? When you're feeling mad, unakwanga number. So Lizzie Favor is usually number 2. Glory is number 2. Ruth Mwangi is number 2. Irene is number 2. We have many number 2s here. Eva is number 1. Hata mimi ni caught up. And number 1, I was like, where are my comrades? Winnie used to be number 1. She's now number 2. Wow, is that a good thing, Winnie? Celestine anasema tu itadepend umegusa side gani. She can be both. Caroline is number 2. Eva is number 1. Winnie used to be number 1. Now she's number 2. Sue is number 1. Caroline Zomo is number 1. Winnie Best is number 2. Mary, when I'm mad, I am the second one, silent and withdrawn. And then it depends, I can be both. Celestine is, just depend which nerve you touched. And then Carol is number 2. Angela is number, depends, I'm number 2 for a while, then boom, I ended up. Well, that's funny. Allow me to just laugh at Angela first. And then Carol is number 1. Carol is number 2. Angela is, yeah, Angela has explained herself. And then Marie is number 2. Lily, both, it depends with the situation. Not a Lily, I can 2 sides of the coin. Beatrice, number 1. Philomene, number 1. Winnie Best, 1 and 2. Edith, 1. Yeah, the 1 and 2s, you guys are ninjas. You know how to pull both cards. Some of us don't have that skill. Jen Mogo also, both depends. Yeah, and so that is probably a review of ourselves. And of course, the next question that I would love to ask, which one is bolder? Which one do you think is bolder between the two? Which one is bolder? Do you think number 1 is bolder? Is number 2 bolder in terms of how they express themselves? Because today we're looking at the emotionally bold woman. And so if you are either, you are both, which one probably do you enjoy being? Alice, do you want to say something? I can see your hand is up. Do you want to contribute? Alice, you wanted to contribute? Okay. So I'm waiting for the responses on which one do you think is bolder between these two women? Which one is the ninja? Please mute that person, the ones who have the muting rights. You can hear some feedback on the behind. Okay, so let me read. So Kate is saying number 1 is the bolder one. The aggressive number 1 is bolder. Celine is also thinking number 1 is bolder. Glory is thinking number 1 is bolder. Eva is saying none is bolder. The aggressive one is bolder according to Lily, and number 1 is bolder according to Stella. Omari thinks 1. Caroline thinks aggressive. Yani mpaka mmeshatupea jina. Tunawaona na tunawajudge. And then Philomena, number 1. Marie is thinking both are. And then Carol is thinking 1 is bold. I'm usually number 2. But if I do, 1 will cry. If I do, 1 will cry. I'm not sure I understood that. Ama mimi sisomi kizungu vizuri. 1 is bold. I'm usually number 2. If I do 1, I will cry. Or if you become number 1, if you feel like you will cry, you will just break down. None of them is bold according to Mary Moroki. Kafsir, good to see you, Esther. Number 1, and then Kate, 2, though I feel I'm taken advantage of. And then Omari is thinking number 1 is bolder. Karen, number 1. Caroline Kiget, number 1 is bolder. Florence is thinking number 2 is bolder. Beatrice is thinking number 1. Sue is thinking both are bold. And then Jen Moko is thinking number 1 is bold. All right. So we are going to see in the course of our conversation and engagement tonight. I want us to look at the price tags for these women in terms of how they show up and the prices they pay for how they show up. Because everybody pays the price for how they are and how we show up in our relationships, in our workplaces, all those dynamics, like we keep on paying a price. There's always a price tag on it. And so we're going to just read through the list of what is the price tag of number 1, the lady that we are calling aggressive. Of course, in the marketplace and of course in the men's domain, they will say this woman is bitchy. And then this woman is not shy about getting angry and stating her differences. And also labels shock her into a state of silence or intensifies a feeling of injustice and powerlessness. And so when she gets into that label in terms of you are a bitch, akichochwa, shocks her into silence, she can decide to keep quiet or she can intensify because she's feeling injustice, she's feeling powerless, especially if she has a valid point. And then she also vents her anger ineffectively and gets disapproval instead of sympathy. So how she shows up, the aggression puts off people sometimes. And then of course expresses anger at injustices, but still leaves the real issues go unresolved. She still leaves those issues unresolved because as much as she was angry, people focus on her anger, they stop focusing on the injustice. And then she also becomes a prime scapegoat for men who dread female anger and for women who wish to avoid their own. So women who want to avoid their anger, they just feel like, wow, this is too much, this is aggressive. But then also men usually feel like, drama, this witch needs a broom, give her a broom a fly, And of course, the other thing is she protects others at her own expense. And so some of you, as I'm talking, you're feeling like, yeah, I speak up for people. And sometimes I still feel like I was sidelined. I feel like nobody had me. I feel like I was still ignored. Even in workplaces, these are the champions for justice, tuongezewe mshahara and everything, but nobody appreciates her effort because everybody just remembers her drama. And so sometimes it's a difficult place for her to be. The other thing about this woman that is on your screen, she allows herself to be written off and she provides others with an excuse not to take her seriously and address her concerns because people will focus on the drama, they will not focus on the real issues. And so they will write her off. Even if she has a valid point, they'll probably just ignore and dismiss her. She helps others stay calm and intellectual as she becomes more infuriated and hysterical. So they get off the hook. So for example, even in a relationship, for example, this is you and your husband. Your husband is just there staying calm and looking like a gentleman. Imagine even on the streets, like if someone just decides to go down, maybe she's been violated, she's been abused, she's been conned, but the person that she's matching off with is so calm and looking so intellectual. And for her, she's getting angrier and hysterical. And then of course, everybody starts sympathizing with the other person. They feel like this is the victim and you are the perpetrator just because the way you're showing up is aggressive. And the other thing about her price tag is she's caught up in unsuccessful efforts to change people who don't want to change. They don't want to change their beliefs. They don't want to change their reactions. They don't want to change their feelings. They don't want to change their behaviors. So most of the times this girl will be stuck with people who don't want to change. They don't want progress. They don't want even to move forward because sometimes we are angry at people that are so stuck and we're just feeling like they are sabotaging themselves. We feel like they are not taking bold actions. We are like, mbona uchukui hatua? So the kind of anger we feel, it's because we are feeling like other people are not reacting. They're not responsive. Maybe they're not even getting jobs. So you're so tired of supporting them. And so you're just coming hard at them. But the problem is, despite how much lectures we give, despite how much theses and defenses we make, like people don't change. And sometimes it's so frustrating being this woman. And then let's look at the profile of this other woman. So first of all, she's the nice lady. This is the nice ladies by default. People usually say, we are kasirikangi. She's never angry. These are the women that, they just look like they have it together. Nice, calm, collected. When you shout at them, they just smile back at you, or they will have no reaction even on their face. And then she's silent, she's tearful, she's self-critical because she blames herself for what happens in her life. And then she's also hurt because she usually takes in and absorbs other people's reactions, other people's accusations, other people's drama. And so she just takes it quietly. She really gets in the long run. Please mute yourselves as you come in. And then the other thing about her, she represses her anger to avoid conflicts. And so what happens is that every time there's a conflict around her, she just represses her anger. She doesn't react. She doesn't say anything. The other thing, she avoids being clear about what she thinks or how she feels. People never know. People rarely know how this pretty, calm girl is feeling. They don't know what she's thinking because she never comes out on it. And then she doesn't make others uncomfortable or expose her differences with them. So if she disagrees with you, she'll just smile. She'll just play it safe. Sometimes she'll just agree with you and she knows you are horribly wrong. Sometimes she'll just be there and she doesn't even show any reaction. And then of course she also doesn't make others uncomfortable because she doesn't challenge them. She's not like, uongo, I don't trust you. This is not true. I don't like what you're doing. I don't like what you said. So people always feel comfortable around them. People can come and vent on you. People can come and even say unkind things to you because they just know she won't respond. She's such a nice person. And then, of course, the other thing, she doesn't, she pulls effort in reading other people's reaction. Don't rock the boat. That is usually her position. So she will be just reading other people's reactions. She's trying to read other people's emotions. She's usually an expert at everyone else apart from herself. So she knows how to deal with everyone. And sometimes people think like she's very wise. She just knows her stuff, but at whose expense? And for her, she doesn't want to rock the boat. She just wants a smooth sail. She just wants a smooth ride. And so she doesn't say anything and she doesn't make anyone feel uncomfortable. And of course, the other thing about her, she's less and less expert on her own thoughts, her own feelings, and what she wants. She never knows. Sometimes she's not even clear about these places in her life. And then she also assumes all responsibility for other people's feelings and reaction. And so what happens when other people are angry, they feel guilty. She feels guilty for other people's anger. She feels guilty for other people's probably reactions. She feels guilty when other people are even arguing. Like watu wawili wakiwagi wanaanza kujiuliza nini amefanya. You are always doubting yourself and you're always blaming yourself for what other people are feeling. Even when people are sad, you start blaming yourself. And so they are always absorbing from the environment. They are always absorbing other people's emotional environment, emotional climate, which is very exhausting for her sometimes. And then the other thing, she battles guilt, feelings of guilt, anxiety, depression, and hurt endlessly. She's always battling these emotions. Akimalizana na moja, there's another one coming. So when she stops feeling guilty, anxiety is waiting. When she stops feeling anxious, depression is waiting. And then she's always feeling hurt. Hurt is not a feeling, it's a reaction. But this is something that is very strong on people who have this nature and personality. And then she pays premium costs on all emotional and intellectual life. Her emotional life, it's always on the altar because she sacrifices it for other people, and also intellectual life because people never get to experience her brilliance. Sometimes people think she's stupid because they're just like, ulienda shule, but I'm not even sure you can implement this. She doesn't stand up, she doesn't fight for herself, she doesn't push for opportunities. And so sometimes her intellectual life really suffers because of that. And so even in her workplace, she'll be the nice person. She might never get promotions. She's just there, even in her family. Like she doesn't use all that she is. She doesn't bring out the best. She doesn't live out her A game. People don't know her full potential, and sometimes people just chance on her. Like sometimes you can talk with her, you have very deep conversations and you're like, this person is very brilliant, but it's not always in your face. Like she doesn't know how to bring that side of herself continuously and just put herself out there. And of course, I really love this last part. All the creative, intellectual, and sexual energy trapped in her repression is mind-blowing. And so this woman probably has sexuality because she's always thinking about the other person. So even in marriage, she's just thinking about pleasing her husband. So sex is usually a passive place for her. And then the other thing about her is now when it comes to her creativity, like she never puts herself out there in an assertive way, in a way that people see her full brilliance. And then intellectually, I've explained. And then now there's the sexual energy because she's always repressing and thinking about other people more than herself. It is mind-blowing. And so I don't know which woman you are. Winnie is saying Jameni. Yeah, this is Jameni. And this research and this experience and this information is researched and it's adapted from Dance of Anger. It's a book by a doctor called Harriet Lana. It's an old book, like it's a book in the 19s. But when I read it, I was just like, this book is surreal, The Dance of Anger, because both of these women are angry, but both of them have not learned how to express their anger and to bring out their A game, in a way that serves them. So let's look at both of them in terms of how both of them, there's someone who said
both of them are unemotionally bold. Glory is saying number 2 woman has paid huge price in her marriage. That is true. That is true. Actually, her marriage looks very functional. Maybe it is 100%, but she's the one who is paying the price. And on September, we shall be having a program for wives called Resolving Anger in Marriage and resolving just those emotional pains we've really carried for many years. And one of the things you will learn is how this woman in the second slide has learned to do something called de-selfing. De-selfing. So you stop showing up as yourself. You no longer exist. Like the other person exists at your expense. And so some of them will look like they have very functional marriage. They look like submissive wives, but they're really oppressed within themselves. There's nothing really rippling out here. And of course, this other one, sometimes she also doesn't enjoy her marriage, like my type. Yeah, because people keep on thinking, like even sometimes your husband feels like you are too aggressive and wetu nimekublock. Nimekublock na nimesha kuingisha kwa hiyo prison. Like you just don't exist technically. And then this other woman, she's loved, she's valued, she's showered with gifts, but inwardly she actually knows like this is not a balanced relationship. The other thing that we'll be using, one of the words you'll be hearing is the seesaw of your relationship. Like she's always down so that probably her husband can be up, which is not a functional way. Because when you look at Genesis, the Bible says God created a helpful, a helpmate, someone suitable for him to help him, not to because now this woman has decided to replace herself. She doesn't exist in her marriage so that her husband can exist. And of course, all African women, because of the African culture and how we've been socialized, we were socialized like your husband should exist, you should not exist. You let your husband shine, you should not shine. And so we have not found a place in terms of how do we balance that dynamic. So we shall be exploring that in September. But the first place is here because you need to understand yourself. You need to first of all unpack the emotionally unbold and then just understand how can you be bold again. And we shall be doing this in 8 weeks. The other thing about this, we're now looking at the unemotionally bold. I love the people who said none of them is emotionally bold, and that is true because both of them need to learn and relearn. And both are so driven by emotionality that they don't reflect on their ability to behave differently or explore new options. And so these two women, there's something called the dance of anger. They keep dancing the same way, they keep getting the same result. And so every time they are always stuck. So both of them are driven. I don't know. I think when someone comes in and they're not muted immediately, I get a bit distracted. So the ones who are helping me will be faster. Both of them are driven by emotionality so that they do not reflect on their ability to behave differently or explore new options. And by that, it's because both of them are emotionally reactive. It's only that this one reacts in a repressed way and this one reacts in an aggressive way. So both of them are not heard. And so both of them will be making noise. Both of them are probably, no, not both of them. This one will be making noise. This one will be quiet. All of them are experiencing intense emotions at that time. And so this does not still reflect on their ability to behave differently. And that thing called the dance of anger, it's because if you keep on dancing the same way, so this one reacts the same way continuously by repressing her emotions, and this one reacts the same way every time by exploding in her emotions. And so they never get into new options. They don't think like there is a better way of acting. There's a new thing I need to learn. I need to learn a new dance move so that I can get different results in my relationship. And then, of course, both of them are left they're left feeling helpless and powerless. They do not feel in control of the quality and the direction of their lives. And so both of these women, by the end of the day, they are both helpless, they're both powerless. This one looks like she's powerful because her emotions are out here, but in terms of the change that will come and the action and the activity that should happen, it doesn't show up. And so both of them, by the end of the day, the other one is feeling helpless because they didn't express themselves. This one expressed herself inappropriately, so she's also helpless because nobody listened to her. She was not given an audience. Things did not change. And so both of them do not feel in control of the quality and the direction of their lives. And so the other thing is their sense of dignity and self-esteem suffers because they don't effectively communicate and address the real issues. And so nothing changes. And so after probably throwing a tantrum in her marriage, nothing changes. The husband doesn't change, still comes after midnight or after a weekend. And this other one doesn't talk, so the husband also doesn't change. Still comes after midnight, and sometimes doesn't come for a whole weekend. And of course, when he comes very defensive. He becomes now aggressive. And then she feels like, let me just humble myself. This other one will match up with him at the gates, but nothing will change because the husband will just be like, this witch, give her a broom, let her fly away. So you are blocked. And so it means she's not heard. And so nothing changes. This other one also is not hard because she doesn't say much and nothing changes. She'll probably cry, she'll break down, she will try to start the conversation and then it doesn't go anywhere and then she'll just give up. So both of them, nothing changes, they remain in the same space. And then of course, both need help in learning to use their emotions to strengthen themselves and their relationships because they use their emotions to weaken themselves. So you'll need to learn new skills in terms of how can I use my emotions? How can my emotions serve me and work for me? How can my emotions show up in a way that supports me instead of showing up in a way that sabotages me? Because how we show up emotionally is what determines what action or activity happens. And then the other thing is both of them need to stop fearing emotions excessively or denying it entirely or displace it onto inappropriate targets or turn it against herself. So both of them will need to do that. Number one, they stop fearing emotions. So first of all, this first girl fears feeling vulnerable. So even when she's feeling maybe afraid, maybe she's feeling like something has happened to my husband, she'll still react in anger. She's angry at him, she's reactive. And so the husband will even feel angry. And of course, he's also feeling provoked. And then he switches off instead of feeling empathetic that she's scared. She's wondering what happened to you. She's wondering, were you carjacked? Ulishikwa na polisi? You know, like, are you dead? Are you alive? So that concern stops being heard because she's fearing her emotion in terms of I'm vulnerable. So she will react as if I don't care. You know, uko wapi hata usikuje. You know, but inside, uko ndani, she's actually afraid. And so she needs to stop fearing her emotion excessively. The other one needs to stop fearing her anger because she really fears anger. She fears showing her full expression of how she feels. And then, of course, sometimes they also deny these emotions. This one denies she's angry. This one denies she's afraid. Or maybe they displace it into inappropriate targets. So, for example, this first woman would be the one kicking the cat and shouting at her children. Yeah, I know that road, but I'm not judging anyone who is with a striped blouse. I'm sitting right there with you on the striped, the one who has a striped shirt. And then, of course, the other thing is onto inappropriate targets is also what this quiet woman will do. She'll resent even people who've not offended her. So sometimes she'll sink into depression. She's not able to take care of her children, or she's not able to show up in a helpful way, which is still inappropriate target because your children should not get sucked into the emotions that you're experiencing. And of course, sometimes both of them turn it against themselves. They blame themselves for how they are feeling. They start feeling like it's my fault, it's my problem, I'm the cause why this other person is doing what they are doing. And then both of them need to stop denying causes of their emotions and its true sources or express it ineffectively. Sometimes both of them are denying the causes of their emotions because, for example, one of the things that I love saying is some of us came into a relationship when you were already traumatized. And that is why for me, this narcissistic word, sometimes I feel like it is thrown around too much. And why? It's because some of us who are in those relationships that we regard as narcissistic, that person who is a narcissist, for example, if it's a husband, it's a boss, it's a neighbor, it's someone, they are not narcissistic to everyone. And I want you to observe them. There are people they respect. There are people they don't shout at. There are people they don't ignore. There are people who, when they are called by, they respect them enough to pick their phones immediately. You know, like there's someone they honor out there. And so it shows their behavior is selective and it's selective on you, which is a problem. And then, of course, the other thing, who is that in a meeting in another meeting? Purity and Angela, try to mute people faster. Let me add more muters to see whether it will help the situation. All right, and then, so where was I? Sorry, guys, I think this relationship, this conversation requires a lot of emotional energy. And I just want to keep on going on and on. Yeah, please bear with me. Where was I even? I was talking about these two women.
The
Someone help
narcissist
me
is
to-
selective. You're talking about the narcissist being selective on how they treat.
I was talking about thank you, Winnie. Thank you. So the narcissist is not narcissistic to everyone. There are people they respect, there are people they don't shout at, there are people they don't ignore their calls, there are people they don't blackmail, there are people they don't abuse the way they show up in your space. And that is why self-awareness is king in terms of how I understand myself. And to also come to this place where I stop denying my emotions in terms of there are some things I had not resolved before I got into this relationship. And that is why I accept a certain way of treatment. That is why I accept, probably I just take it lying low. in terms of the things that are done to me, the things that are said to me. I keep on lying low. And it's because I was just using this statement to say, some of us, whatever is happening in our relationship, like probably with my boss or even with my husband, it's the germs that are happening, but I came with a wound. And so I came with a wound from my childhood. I came with a wound from my past. I came with a wound of traumas. And so whatever is happening in this relationship is the triggering. And so this person is triggering what is already existing. And that is why I really get triggered. Otherwise, if I was emotionally healthy, probably the chances will be higher. I would have chosen differently, number one. And then the chances are higher, I will stand up for myself. I wouldn't take all those things lying low because I'm a healthy space. And so that is why when you're thinking about emotionally involved woman, it's because there are places in herself that she hasn't discovered. I haven't discovered the source of my anger. What is the motivation of all these emotions? What is the root of them? Because I was not born angry. You remember when you're talking about the 5-year-old, where did she go? That girl is not angry. When you're talking about where are you feeling stuck and all those places that we explored, those are the sources of where this anger is coming from, where this suppression of emotions is coming from. Did I learn to suppress my emotions so that I can be safe and I don't annoy my parents? One of the things about people who struggle with people-pleasing mentalities and mindsets and heart space, it's because they grew up in a place where validation was conditional. And so that is the same thing I bring into my relationship. Probably I'm projecting what happened in my family of origin. It's something I have learned. I have learned probably a negative behavior of how I show up in my relationships. And so I need to also come to a place of unlearning so that I can be in a functional space. And I hope that makes sense in terms of denying the causes of your emotions. And so if I am explosive, I should just understand, perhaps you didn't get, during your wedding day on 3rd November 2012, there were no bombs. There is nobody who brought bombs into your wedding gifts, and then now from that time you're given permission to explode. No, you were exploding before you came. And so this situation in your marriage is a reflection of a dysfunction that has happened recently, that happened in the past. You came angry. If you're probably struggling with depression, just dig deeper. Was I depressed even before I came? Yeah. So Glory is agreeing. Childhood wounds is the trigger point. Very true. Because some of these things we came with them. And so this marriage or this relationship is only exposing what was already existing. And it's because this someone is very close to you. This someone you've given your whole life. It's someone you are most vulnerable with, like you've committed the rest of your life to them. You already have children with them, which spreads out your vulnerability. I don't know whether we will stop admitting more people, because I feel like the people who are in are also unmuting themselves. Someone should tell me, perhaps please ignore and focus. And then the other thing is stop denying causes of our emotions or its true source. And then, of course, the other thing is to express it ineffectively. They need to stop expressing the emotions ineffectively. And so if whatever you've been doing is not working, it shows you need to change the dance moves, because you are dancing wrongly and you keep on hoping things will be different. And so this journey of 8 weeks is to help you start dancing the right way so that you can get different results. Or you dance differently so that you can get the right result. And both of them also needs to begin unlearning wrong beliefs and use their emotional energy to serve their own dignity and growth. Because we are just, all our emotional energy is going to just, to just fighting and staying alive and surviving. Like we're just on survival mode, but you don't understand there's a whole life ahead of you. There's dignity in terms of you respecting yourself. There's growth in terms of where you are born to go before all these things happen. Your workplace is a temporary space, and I'm talking about temporary in a way. Probably you'll live and work there for 20 years, but it's not a forever place. One day you'll be given your golden retirement or your golden handshake, and then you have a whole life waiting for you out here. And of course, both of them also need to begin unlearning wrong beliefs, because we have wrong beliefs about who we are. We have wrong beliefs about how we should show up. We have wrong beliefs about emotions and expressing emotions, because like I've said, our culture has also shaped us, how we were socialized, what we grew up hearing, how we saw our mothers behaving, all that has been shaping our reality, and sometimes in a dysfunctional way, because maybe our mothers were passive, and it's because they were also going through traumas. And so we learned as if that is the right way of being. Some of our mothers were aggressive like ours, and then we thought that is the way you react emotionally. But probably she was also going through hurts, and she was just feeling overwhelmed, and that explosion was not necessary or appropriate. And so how do we learn to show up in a functional way that enables and supports, first of all, our dreams, our desires, our goals, and of course also make our relationships healthy, in terms of I have a healthy relationship in my workplace. I have healthy relationships with the romantic relationships I'm in, even with my friendships. Some of you are in friendships that are very dysfunctional. And it's because you're not showing up as an emotionally bold woman with your friends in those chamas. And so everybody just keep on walking all over you. One of the things that happens with this second woman, everybody assumes they know what she wants. They even make decisions for her. They're like, usijali, she won't mind. And of course, this other one, they don't involve her in things because they're like, oh, ataleta drama, you know? And so sometimes there is how you're still, people know how to fit you and how to categorize you in advance. And of course, it becomes a place of disadvantage because those relationships stop becoming functional the moment people have boxed you in a certain way. But emotionally bold woman, first of all, she shows up in those places in a functional way. And then the other thing, with time, all those places, she wants them to be healthy. She has proper boundaries. There's open communication. And of course, there's also honor in terms of how they do it. So what does the emotionally bold woman look like? We have looked at where you're stuck. We shall be looking at it in a deeper way. So when you're joining this class, because I'll explain that in a bit. And then of course, what hurts the most. So today, when you're thinking about the emotionally bold woman and these characteristics we've shared, whether you are that aggressive woman or you're the nice lady, where are you stuck? Because both of them are stuck. So where are you feeling stuck? Even tonight, as you're here, how are you stuck when you look at your relationships and even look at your life? Are you where you want to be? Are you living out your dream? Are you pursuing your goals? Where are you feeling stuck? And so I want you to just take some time and reflect, and probably you can close your eyes if you can, and just be aware of where you're stuck. Allow yourself to even feel. You remember how we were doing it the first time, not the second session? Like, where are you stuck? Which part of your body is feeling stuck? Is it your hands? You're not able to do much. Is it your feet? You're not able to move as fast as you wanted in life. Is it your head? You're feeling like you're not creative. You're just having a mental block. Is it your heart? You're feeling so hurt. You're feeling like my heart is bleeding right now. Is it your stomach? Probably there's a lot of fear and butterflies in there. Where are you feeling stuck? As a result of how you show up and who you are. And then of course, what hurts you the most? What is the most hurtful thing that is happening to you when you're thinking about yourself and probably the places you've not managed to show up boldly in your life, whether you're number one or number two? What is hurting you the most right now? And then also, what must change? What do you feel like this must change? This must change. Probably as I was just sharing and prompting into that conversation, you're feeling like we can't, we can't go on like this. You're just feeling some holy anger, right? What do you feel must change tonight? What must change going forward? And then, of course, what do you need? What do you think you need so that things can start changing and moving? What do you need? Even who do you need? What does this woman need? Maybe you've never even bothered to ask yourself, what do I need? You always ask other people, what do you need? What do you need? What do you need? But you've never taken time to just ask yourself, what do I need? What do I need? Even who do I need so that I can start making the bold moves I need to do in my life for me to come back to this place of emotional bold. And then, of course, what's your ideal self? I want you to dream about her. I want you to think about her. I know some of us, when you were doing the first session, you wrote a letter to yourself, the dear Leah. That is why I had said, like, all these sessions are just pouring and spilling into each other. And so when you think about this journey, like, for example, if you've done all the assignments and you've processed everything, then today it's really making a lot of sense. But if you haven't, no judgment. Probably some of us have also joined midstream. There's no judgment. So I want you to just think about right now as you're here, what will be your ideal self? If today you're an emotionally bold woman, who will you be? What will you do? How will you feel? And so if you're in your boldest mode and you're just showing up as you in the abundant mode, what will you look like? What are some of the things you will do? What are the bold moves you will take? Just think about yourself as the emotionally bold woman. What is your picture? What is your dream? What will you have in terms of the things you've been desiring to have? But you just keep on feeling like, they just sand in my hands, like they keep on sliding away.
And then I want you to breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. I really love this scripture because to me, it is the ultimate picture of the emotionally bold woman. And it's in Proverbs 31, verse 25. When I think about all the programs we do, whether it's Woman Arise, Emotionally Bold Woman, in July, we shall be having the Professionally Bold Woman. In September, we shall be having Resolving Anger in Marriage for Wives. You know, that will be our last program this year. When I think about all these programs that we do, this scripture just stays on with me. It talks about this woman who has strength and dignity, are her clothing, and her position is strong and secure. And she smiles at the future, knowing that she's prepared. This statement is unconditional. It's not related to anyone in her life. And I want you to go and look at that Proverbs 31 woman. She sang about, there's someone who was saying how annoying it was it's Proverbs 31 verse 25. It's Proverbs 31, so it's written by a woman for a woman. And this woman is probably writing to his son Lemuel. Yeah, sometimes I really suspect it was written by Bathsheba, just describing, giving a JD of the virtuous woman, like in terms of the wife that his son should marry. But when I look at it, it's just how that woman shows up for herself. First of all, this woman is living in the Oriental times, you know, in those times where the Jewish culture had no recognition for women. It's even in the Old Testament. Jesus has not come to defend women yet. And then this woman is living in that generation and she's just minding her own business. When you look at her and the things she's achieving, she has these boss moves, she has businesses, she's in real estate, she considers a land and buys it. She's in international trade, like she goes and meets the merchant ships and she buys stuff. She's into fashion industry, she makes linen and purple. And of course, she's wearing like a rich girl. And when you look at her, just how she's living her life, first of all, she doesn't need anyone's approval or validation. Nada. When you look at her, all the things she's doing from Proverbs 31 from verse 10, it talks about how all the way up to, for all those 15 chapters, it's actually up to, I think, 30. And so when it's describing this woman and how she is, how she has made servants, all the lazy wives should say amen. You know, she has made servants. I always underline that. Like she didn't have one servant, she had several, you know, to just help her and to just help her show up in that nice way. And of course, she burns the midnight oil. She's just like a visionary woman. And the reason I feel like she didn't need anyone's validation, the Bible says, down there, down, that her children call her blessed and the husband rises up and joins them to call her blessed. And it says, let the work of her hands speak for her. You know, like this woman is just minding her own business. She's living her life. But then this verse 25 has really some gems that stand out for me. It talks about strength and dignity at her clothing. And so she's wearing strength. She's wearing dignity. For you to wear these things, for you to wear strength, there must be so many weaknesses in your life. And so she's putting it on. It's like putting on a coat. It's like right now, if I'm wearing a jacket, she's wearing strength. And so it means she's been weak in the past. She's been vulnerable, just the way some of us probably are feeling like right now. And then she's also wearing dignity. And so it means there's been shame in her past. There's been loss of her face. She's gone through shameful things. She's probably gone through disgraceful things in a way. Earthquake events, that is what we call them in the emotionally bold woman. Earthquake events have happened. You know, things that everyone knows, your family knows, your neighbors know, your workplace, they know. You know, like you have nowhere to hide. And so she's been wearing those things, but then she's choosing. Because when you're thinking about wearing her clothing, she intentionally puts on strength. She's like, you know what, I've been weak, but I can't keep on sitting here and licking my wounds. I can't keep on sitting here and feeling pity on myself. And then number two, she wears dignity. She's like, you know what, it's happened. And one of the things in my coaching work is to help people come to this place where they are living unapologetically confident. Where I'm like, yeah, that was me, and this is me. And I'm both, and I'm fine with it. So that I don't feel like there's someone who will pull out something ugly from my past and they just keep on shoving it under my nose and making me feel ashamed of myself. Because once you're wearing dignity, it's because you're choosing. You know what? My life deserves dignity. Christ died for my dignity. I can't allow myself to keep on walking in shame and walking around eggshells and avoiding people and avoiding situations. For me, I usually say, by the everything that has happened in my life, I can go live and tell everyone about it. So you don't need to keep on feeling like you can come and pull out something that me and James probably fought, or what happened, or this and this happened, or this happened from your past. You remember I shared my story, how someone from my high school came years later. They know that I'm a life coach. And of course, they still wanted to just remind me of my shame. They're like, uliacha kukojoa kwa kitanda. I was like, yeah, by the way, imagine that problem is solved. Thank you for asking. I really appreciate you checking in. When you choose to wear dignity, there's nobody who removes it from you. And this woman wears them. She wears them. And so today it's the day you decide, you know what? There's no shame in my life and it's on my terms. I'm not going to allow anyone to put me down because of what I did. What I did was yesterday. And the Bible says his mercies are new every morning and great is his faithfulness. And that is what I underline, bold, emboss, and do everything around it. And we need to be women who are giving ourselves a second chance, regardless of how much shame we've gone through and how much weakness and vulnerability we've gone through in the past. Those are the things that she's clothed herself with. And the Bible says, and her position is strong and secure. And so I come up as a strong woman. I believe in my strength. I believe in my capacity. I believe in my giftings. I believe in my personality. I believe in my desires. I believe in everything that I am. And that is how I show up. And then the Bible says our position is also secure. She's secure. She's not competing. She's not fighting with anyone. She's secure. And security is something we can only find in God, in knowing who we are in God and standing there and living out our identity from there. And then I love this part of she smiles at her future, because she's like, okay, maybe there's a lot of shame downstream. Maybe there's a lot of weakening things downstream. Maybe there are a lot of battles and warfares downstream. I've not seen them. But when I look at the future, I smile because I know who I am. And I know that there's nothing that will ever happen in my life that I can't handle. And that is why she shows up and secure. So I don't know whether you can call yourself this woman who can smile at the future. In a way, I don't know what will happen. I don't know, probably if you're in a marriage with infidelity, you're like, probably my husband will cheat again. But I smile. Probably he will leave again, and I smile. In a way, you are deactivating all the bombs and all the traps that the devil has set for you in future. Because so many of us are living in so much fear. And I believe that is what God wants to deliver us from, especially in this season. And this woman smiles at the future because she knows she's prepared. She's doing her due diligence every day. Every day she's showing up, she's doing her press-ups. She wakes up in the morning and spends time with Jesus before she goes anywhere. I'm really hoping that you guys have read the book on Lies Women Believe, because one of the chapters that talks about the woman who has limited time, like probably she doesn't have enough time to do all the things she needs to do. And she feels like, time is always out. And it talks about how this woman can show up in the morning and she's like, God, what do you want me to do today? God, how do you want me to live out today? God, how do you want me to depend on you today? This is so hard, whatever I need to achieve, whether it's at work, whether it's in my marriage, whether it's a project. And then that woman will have the intelligence of living that day, and she feels confident, she knows what she's supposed to do. And honestly, that book just changed my life in a way. Nowadays, I feel like my priorities are really in place, except from this season. Probably it's because I'm also not doing my due diligence in terms of my quiet times in the morning. I've really been burning midnight oil. Like I remember 3 days in a row, I've woken up at 3 a.m. to just do some final edits on the book. Just when you think you have it together and everything is in place, and then something else comes up, another review here, another review there. But I've just been doing it with joy because I'm also feeling how much life it's bringing into what I've been doing. And so when you think about those days that you have your life and you have a rhythm in your life and you're just preparing every day, it's like you prepare day by day. You prepare day by day. You prepare day by day. And so you prepare today, you prepare tomorrow, because every day you just feel like I need to fight the battles prepared. My preparation is not long haul because I can't secure so many things, but every day, no matter what shows up, it will find me set. And I'm really praying that this will be your posture, to be this woman who is prepared no matter what happens. And so the emotionally bold woman roadmap. I just love this scripture again in Psalms 32. This is a scripture that I felt like, I just feel like it's my guiding scripture for this year. When I was starting the year, and I remember just sitting in the prayer center and this scripture just popping up. And I remember just even crying over it. I was just like, God, you love me so much. I just feel like this is a personal, it's like an SMS, it's like a DM you've sent me.
where God says, I will instruct you and teach you the way you should go. I will give you counsel and watch over you. Do not be like the horse or mule, which has no understanding, and they must be controlled with bit and bridle to make them come to you. I don't know who is writing on the screen. There's some graphics that are coming up. You know what happened in the past? We've ever had trawlers and what do you call them? Trawlers and spammers join our sessions, and then sometimes it really gets chaotic because there will be so many drawings happening on the screen. There are people who are unmuting and they start heckling down the meeting. We had that, especially there's a time for the WIB conference, Women in Business. I was the chair lady of Kiambu at that time. And then there was so much heckling and so much, like we had to close the meeting and start again. So probably from that time, I'm a bit cautious and really radar on things that are happening in a meeting, because sometimes it can really get out of control, and especially for such a sensitive meeting where we are here, we're just thinking about our emotions. Sometimes having that quiet is really helpful. So the Emotionally Bold Woman Roadmap, I was just reading this scripture, and I've outlined the most important things in terms of the things that are key. So it talks about instructing, and so we need to allow God to instruct us. And it's being instructed by God is also being taught new ways of thinking, new ways of doing things. And also counsel. Counsel is also different, because counsel is that place of stuckness where I need a specific advice, I need a specific instruction, and then also watch over you. To just imagine that God is watching over you, God is watching over your life, God is watching over your marriage, God is watching over your children, God is watching over your career and your ambitions, God is watching over you. And then it talks about this mule that has to be bridled, because when we lack understanding, then things just keep on happening in our lives, hurtful things, things that are not pleasant, things that are frustrating, things that we feel like even they take us back on the little progress we had made. It talks about we should not be like this horse and mule, which has no understanding, and it must be controlled so that God can make us come to him. And for me that night, I think I was just like, God, I don't want this to be the year that I'm living a life without understanding. And then I am feeling like situations are controlling me. Sometimes God has to bring so many roadblocks on my way so that I can be in control. And then also for you to make me come to you. I want to come to you willingly. I want to submit to you willingly. I want my life to be for you willingly. I don't want to feel like things have to happen and drama has to happen for me to find my place. I just want this to be a willing relationship. I want to feel like I'm in this because I want to, not because I have to. And so in this 8 weeks journey, these are the areas we shall be exploring. So next week, we shall start our first session, and we shall be looking at this emotionally bold woman as the woman who feels all her feelings. And some of us, we've grown up in places where we repress our emotions. We don't even know when to feel or when not to feel. Some of us, we are really emotionally unintelligent. We don't even know what we are feeling. We keep on feeling other people's feelings instead of our own feelings. And we shall be looking at our generations. Actually, in this first session, we even draw our genograms in terms of what were the emotional traumas in your generation. So stop just talking about who was drinking alcohol, who was promiscuous in my family tree. It's also about the emotions. What emotions did they have, and how did those emotions affect me? Because emotions are handed down. Emotional trauma in generations is also a reality. And you need to go back and understand, how have I been conditioned emotionally by the generations that have lived through before I came? How did they condition me? What decisions did they make even about the emotions? And it's just the way right now, I'm also programming my daughter's emotions in a way, probably if she'll be reactive, it's because she learned it. And it's because that is the best we knew. And also sometimes we also feel like I repel how my parents were, and then I create still another dysfunctional emotional expression. Because as much as I revolted how they show up, but I didn't find a healthier way of being. And so we shall be looking at how this woman needs to feel all her feelings, and of course, so many dimensions into it besides that, because you'll also learn how to really express your emotions, and also to look at the earthquake events that have happened in the past in your family and how did they affect you, all the things that happened. So we shall be processing it in that dimension. She lives out her truth. So many of us are living lies. You are living a lie. You're living a lie about who you are. You're living a lie about your situations. You're living a lie even in terms of the places you are stuck. And so it is about this woman starting to face her truth and living out her truth. The other thing is she has nothing to prove. You'll stop being a people pleaser. You'll stop being an approval addict. You'll stop living on other people's terms and you live on your terms, because this woman has nothing to prove. She doesn't need to prove anything to anyone. And so she'll stop proving a point. And one of the things we look at in this, Jesus had nothing to prove to anyone. And that is why he was a disappointment to everyone. He disappointed his disciples. He disappointed his family. He disappointed the Pharisees. He disappointed the Roman Empire. Like, he didn't come to live on anyone's terms. He was here to live for the Heavenly Father. And that is a posture that every woman should adopt for them to be emotionally bold, because they need to stop living on other people's terms. And then, of course, she blames no one. You will stop blaming other people. You will stop feeling like, except Nani has for change, I can never be happy. No, you're only responsible for yourself. And so when she stops blaming other people, of course, we are looking at different women in the Bible to guide us in these conversations, because all those women, there's how they were showing up and the kind of results they got in their lives. And so this woman blames nobody. She doesn't blame her past. She doesn't blame her history. She doesn't blame her parents. She doesn't blame her husband. She doesn't blame her children. She has no one to blame. And she doesn't even feel the need to blame. The other thing, she doesn't live for others. And so she'll stop living for others. She'll stop living on other people's terms. And that is totally different from the other place of she has nothing to prove. And then she doesn't overfunction. Some of us are really overfunctioning in our relationships. You are overdoing things. You are doing things for people, even things they should do for themselves. And that is how you are so hurt, you are so tired, you are burnt out, you are exhausted, and it is not your place. And so this woman will stop overfunctioning. She will learn how to be a functional woman. Some of us are also underfunctioning in our relationships. You keep on allowing other people to do everything for you. And so you'll also learn to find that subtle place, that balance. And of course, there's some of us who we overfunction in some relationships, we underfunction in some. So for example, in your workplace, you overfunction, in your marriage, you underfunction. Or sometimes you overfunction in your marriage, you underfunction in your workplace. And so you keep on getting conflicting results of who you are. And it's like you have an identity crisis. You're not really showing up as a consistent person in all your areas. And the emotionally bold woman is one person in every space. Wherever she is, she's the same person. And so how you experience her in your family space is how she's experienced by her husband, how she's experienced at her workplace. She is consistent in who she is. And she's consistently healthy in all her relationships because she has boundaries in place. The other thing about her, she has the right handset, she has the right mindset, she has the right soul set, she has the right skill set. And we shall be looking at all those dimensions in terms of what do they mean and how can you start showing up in your best mode. And of course, the other thing about her, which I can't see here, is she lives out, or she comes alive to herself. I think I've skipped it. That is why I'm wondering, equal be your point. She comes alive to herself. Some of us, we have given up on our dreams. We have given up on even our childhood dreams. We have given up on things that used to make us happy. We feel like adulting is so serious. Who said that? This woman also comes alive to herself. She creates her bucket list. She starts fulfilling her dreams and her desires. She starts going out for herself. She starts investing in herself. And you remember when you're doing the bucket list, now this time we do it in a deeper way because it will be so many things, including creating your values. You need to create a value system that guides how you show up in your life. In a way, every time you're living out, it's because you're living out your values. It's not just what I do, it's who I am. This is how I show up. And so in every place I am, I'm able to demand for what is rightful for me. I'm able to demand for what I deserve. And those are things that I stop negotiating for, and I realize that they are things that I deserve and things that God wants for me. And I really love this scripture. I'd already mentioned it when we were starting. John 10:10 in the Message version. The Bible says a thief is only there to steal, to kill, and to destroy. I came so that they may have real and eternal life, more and better life than they ever dreamed of. Can you imagine there's a better life than what you ever dreamed of? And some of us have even given up on our dreams because you're like, life imenichapa. Like, this is such a horrible place. I never thought I would be here. I never thought this will ever happen to me. I never thought I would one day be sitting here going through what I'm going through. But even right now, as you are nursing your heartbreak and feeling very devastated with how your life is, do you know that there is a life more than what you ever dreamed of? It's accessible to you, it's available for you because that is God's promise for you. And the Bible says what the thief came to do, number one, is to steal. So what has been stolen from your life? What do you feel like it has been stolen? You no longer have it. Someone else has it. Sometimes you can even see it in them. Some of us have so many things that have been stolen. Yanif, stop shouting. I'm in a class. And so number one, what has been stolen, and you're just feeling like it's no longer here. It no longer lives here. Some of us, you feel like the light in your soul went off. and you're just living in darkness. And then, of course, what has been killed, some of us, we are so conscious of some things that have died. You know, my joy died, my peace died, my excitement died. It's just like I'm a shell of a person living and walking around. You know what has also been destroyed in your life? You know, because destruction is also meaning some things are in pieces. I just feel like they will never be fixed. When you're thinking about a shattered glass, even if you fixed it and you try to put back together accurately, it will still have all those cracks and all those marks there. And so to think what has been stolen, what has been killed, what has been destroyed. But the Bible says he came so that you may have real and eternal life. So there's a real life for you out there. And that real life and eternal life is more better than what you'd ever dreamed of. So some of us are nursing broken dreams right now. You're just like, this is not what I thought marriage will be. This is not what I thought my professional life will be. This is not what I thought my retirement plan will be. Like you're just feeling heartbroken. I never thought like probably my children will be the way they are. I never thought like people will treat me the way they have treated me. But guess what? Even right now, as you're feeling disappointed, there's a more and better life, more than what you ever dreamed of. More than what you ever dreamed of. And that is God's promise for you. And I believe with all my heart as I'm sitting here that God is able to do this for you, no matter how hopeless your situation feels like right now. I also love this version. It's just different in its own way. The thief comes only in order to steal, kill, and destroy. And then this Bible says, I came that they may have and enjoy life. Some of us don't know what enjoying life looks like, you know? And it's because probably we are even feeling financially stuck. Like you never know, utakuwa unalamba glucose, unapambana na maisha. You'll never have time to breathe and relax. You used to just save those photos. Maybe you even have a vision board of you in Miami, of you in all these other places. And you're just like, I've never even left Nairobi recently. But there's still that place where God has promised you that he came so that you may have and enjoy life. And it's possible for you to enjoy life and to enjoy it on your terms. And then, of course, to have it in abundance to the full till it overflows. And when I think about the term overflows, sometimes it feels like wasteful, like overflowing. It's the way sometimes people demonstrate, sijui umeweka maji, ukaweka kwa glass, alafu ikaanza kumwagika chini. God is not wasteful. Actually, when I think about overflowing, it's that aspect of it going beyond you, where other people are enjoying abundant life because you have so much of it and you have some to spread around. And I really believe that this place of abundance exists for you to enjoy life to the full till it overflows. In a way, other people start enjoying life because you're enjoying it. And some of us are probably even our children are not able to enjoy life because they can see how much we are agonizing and antagonizing and how much we are suffering and struggling in a way that is the same effect we bring around us. And when you start overflowing, you know, I love that overflowing, never ending, sustainable. Thank you, Mary. It's because it is not just impacting me. And that is why you need to fight, because this fight is not just for you, it's for your generations. Your generations can enjoy life because their shosh or great shosh decided that, you know, that misery that I've been experiencing ends with me. There's nobody else who is going to go through this misery. There's nobody else who is going to suffer and struggle the way I'm doing because it ends with me.
Mm-hmm.
Is there someone receiving a call or doing something? Please keep yourself.
Number one, tell me.
Dorothy. All right. I think she's been muted. Dorothy anasomea mtu hapo, ameambiwa aseme number one. Yeah, I know we are in the midst of so many things, and I really appreciate that you guys are still here for yourself and for this. And so what will be the indicators of abundant life in your life, and what are the places? Someone is here, I'm waiting for them to leave. And so the indicators of abundant life, or how will you know that you're coming into this place of being an emotionally bold woman? Number one is time management. You know, you will learn how to manage your time. And why? It's because, let me tell you, emotions are such time wasters. Some of us, our productivity is very low just because of the emotional space we are in. You know, we are so overwhelmed. Sometimes you find your productivity is very low. I remember like myself last year, I would leave even sometimes for weeks or even for a month, and I've done the bare minimum to just get along. Like I'll just know, mpaka jioni when I'm going home, I'm just like, today I've done nothing and I'll be paid. You know, and then you just realize like I'm so emotionally overwhelmed. I keep on touching one thing and I don't put it down and I don't also work on it. Like even on your laptop, there are so many tabs open. But when you look at your productivity, hakuna kitu unafanya. You know, they're just emotionally draining. You're feeling like my productivity is very low. Also, how you manage time, because some of us, probably it's even our relationships, we don't have time to invest in the right things because you're so self-absorbed. And so you don't spend time with your children. You don't spend time probably even with your spouse. You're not spending time even with your in your workplace in a productive way. But every time you feel like you're so tired, you're so worked up. And that is part of time management. And so that place will come alive for you. And then the other thing is healthy relations. That will be an indicator. Right now, you will be working on putting boundaries in all your relationships. One of the testimonials that was so impressive is how marriages are improving and also just relationships generally. Because you have boundaries, you know what to expect. You're communicating it respectfully. You are expecting it. You're not just communicating because you are venting, but you're expecting action and you have consequences in place. And some of the people also feel like their relationships have improved even at work because you go and ask for what you deserve. Some of us have just been living on the bare minimum. You are the donkey in your workplace, but on the pay slip, it doesn't show. You know, everybody dumps everything on you. And, you know, you start having healthy relationships with your boss, healthy relationships with your colleagues, because you're like, okay, from this week, I will not accept this. I will not allow this. And this will not happen anymore. And then with time, you realize, yeah, by the way, people can respect you. You can live life on your terms. People can honor you. You're the one who needs to teach them. And the other thing is stress management. Some of us are so stressed. We are struggling with depression. We are battling anxiety attacks just because of the emotional spaces we are in. And of course, you can go and see a psychiatrist. I've actually had 3 clients who came and did Humanize. They were seeing a psychiatrist because of the situations they were going through, you know, and it was so heartbreaking. And one of the things I usually say, if you want to work with me, you need to stop being on the medication, especially if it's not life-threatening. If it's managing your emotions, I want us to go through those emotions and resolve them. Because all these medications and all these conditions that are mental health related, they're sustained, they are designed, or the medication is designed to help you cope, but not resolve. And so with time, you just find yourself on drugs and more drugs, you know, and it's just not going away. The misery is not going away. You know, and some of our emotional states need to be resolved and addressed instead of being avoided. That one had to unmute and agree. Yeah, thank you. And of course, the other thing is assertiveness. You learn to stand up for yourself. You learn to fight your battles instead of always crying and running away. You learn to show up. You're just like, yes, I'm here for this. And some of us are not assertive. And aggression is not assertive. You know, when you show up in the bitchy way, that is not being assertive. That is being aggressive. Assertive is that middle place where you're able to communicate and articulate your needs and what you want. And you're so clear in terms of what you want. I'm not angry. I'm not explosive. I'm just standing up for myself. And this is what should be going for me. And whether it will call for some of you to even write letters to people you cannot be able to confront, we will go there. You know, we really need to start dealing with things instead of avoiding them. You know, the good thing with a letter, it's like telling someone to sit down and shut up and listen to me, because they can't argue with you in a letter. They can't push back in a letter. You know, they just have to be there. And so you'll be thinking about it from that perspective. Assertiveness will be a skill that we'll need to build. The other indicator is peaceful. You know, if Jesus came so that we may have life and life in abundance, we need to sleep at night without turning and tossing. You need to be able to enjoy deep sleep, that state where your body totally relaxes and rests. Some of us have not experienced that feeling for a long time. You sleep even for longer hours, but you wake up feeling so tired. Unasikianga ni kama umeanza tena, ni kama umelala ukichimba. You know, some of us even sleep at 7 and you wake up the following day at 7, you're still tired after 12 hours of sleep. And so you need to start enjoying peace. And peace is that shalom. Shalom. In terms of Jesus can sleep in the storm, in a boat. Akiwa na wanaume 11 hapo. Who are you to stay awake at night when everything is quiet? Honestly, I've lived in Switzerland, and I remember that time that I was there, I visited a Kenyan who was living in a state called Geneva. I was living in a state called Vaud, and Canton Vaud. And then when I went to visit her in Geneva, she was like, Paps, na ukilala huku usiflash choo usiku, huko tuflashingi choo, imeandikwa mpaka kwa contract. I was like, ai, sasa watu wakienda tu hapo wanajaza, kila mtu anatuma email alafu kutaendaje? She's like, people in this state don't sleep. at night because they're not peaceful. What work on antidepressants and they can't even sleep. And so at night, if you flush the toilet, hiyo kelele inaamsha neighbor. And I was like, wow, this is first of all so funny that people get woken up by a flushing toilet. Imagine in that state, unaweza fukuzwa kwa nyumba because you flushed the toilet at night. And that place, by the people are so depressed, like the level of consumption of antidepressant. I mean, that is the cleanest city in the world, Switzerland. And of course, it has the best chocolates. You guys, chocolate moja sijui ilikuanga kama so, and it is those big ones. Right now, Cadbury's is not even affordable, and it doesn't even taste as nice. And when you look at such places where people are so advanced, they are living in so much abundance, but they don't have peace. I'm telling you, peace is a luxury. Peace is a luxury, especially in our generation, because we are also overstimulated. When you're peaceful, sometimes you'll wake up and you don't feel the anxiety and the need to, first of all, check your WhatsApp and do all those things. One of the things I have done this past season, especially January, February, March, right now I'm off the bandwagon, was to not check my WhatsApp until I come back from the gym. And so I will drop my kids off, go work out. And then when I come back at 8:30, that is when I will start my day. That is when I will check WhatsApp. That is when I will just go everywhere in all the other places. And I can tell you the peace is unmatched, where you learn to live on your own terms, not on the terms of the things you will keep on seeing and observing. And I'm hoping some of us can probably try that, even if not now. The other thing is anger management. But we are lipukaing out here. You know, people are suffering. And one of the things is people who suppress their emotions. When everything is working out, you're like, hey, is everything okay? I'm not tempted to read your comments and I don't want to. I can see there are 29 on my chat alerts, but I want to just keep on going because we are out of time and I'm almost done. I'm not yet done. Anger management, it's because some of us are so angry. And of course, this anger is destroying you. There's something called psychosomatic conditions for those of us who've done some bit of psychology. And it means that your psycho is affecting your soma. Your psycho is your mind, soma is your body. And some of us are trapped, like our bodies are trapped to keep on going to the doctor. But whatever you're suffering from is more of emotional distress, mental distress, and it's now manifesting in your body. And some of the psychosomatic conditions that have been categorized, something like hypertension. Hypertension is suppressed anger. People who are not expressing themselves. So your body just keeps on reacting in a very intense way until finally you end up with a chronic illness. And it's not all types of hypertension that are psychosomatic, but many of them. And some of us have ulcers, which is also categorized as psychosomatic disorder, where you keep on just, biles are just released in your body because every time you are in flight mode, your body is like, are we in danger? Inaachilia bile. Are we in danger? Inaachilia bile. And then there's nothing, there's no reaction. And so what happens eventually is your body just comes to that place of corroding. Now the bile start corroding your stomach lining and then ulcers end up in there. And there's a time research was done, I think it was in 2015, where they categorized some cancers related to bitterness. You know, it was actually based on research, and some cancers were diagnosed as a psychosomatic condition as well. Like I just keep on being so angry, so bitter. It's condensed inside of me. I'm not able to let it go. I'm not able to let it out. And then it crystallizes into some tumors in my body. And so anger management is a skill that we will learn in a way. I don't deserve to bottle up all this anger. I don't deserve to be stuck with all these emotions. They're not necessary. I can put down some burdens that are not necessary when I'm an emotionally bold woman. The other thing is also you become a trustworthy person, because people don't trust people who keep quiet. Because you're like, anyway, hakuna kitu unafilingi, hakuna kitu unasemanga, hakuna kitu unasikianga. Like even right now, I've just seen someone come hard on you and I can just see that smile and I don't trust you. How can you be smiling when someone is calling you all those words and just coming down on you like that? And how can I also trust you if you keep on exploding like this? And some of us, we need to be trustworthy people. And you know, it's not even a place of proving yourself. It's also a place of just doing the work and allowing God to do the rest. You know, sometimes some of us, there's nothing we can do. I mean, tumesha choma CV, imesha raruka, it's in flames. No, we don't even have a CV. But you can still be a trustworthy person because God always gives us second chances. You know, looking at someone like very unstable like Jacob, when he's wrestled by the angel, he becomes Israel. I mean, a whole nation of 12 that will be the 144 selected, 12 selected from every tribe. Like in Revelation, those are the people who will be, you know, watakuwa wamekaa VIP place huko mbinguni. And I mean, when you look at it, you're like, Jacob, and he was a con man, he was all these things. And so trust is something you can start rebuilding, even if you feel like, my reputation is in tatters. Tell you what, if God gave Jacob a new beginning and he became the father of Israel, the 12 tribes of Israel, which are referenced all over the Bible, they come from that crazy guy. And so even you with all your craziness and me, we can actually have a new identity and a new name. What was amen kwa your point, especially the dramatic ones. I'm just joking. And then the other thing is an indicator is personal growth. Personal growth. And it's because there are some places you need to grow. There are places you need to go. And those places, it's not about just where you want to go. It's about who you are. And some of us need to really keep on working on ourselves to show up in a certain way. To show up in a certain way. And I really love this part where Isaac is blessing his two sons. That is Jacob and Esau. And then, of course, you remember Jacob was the con man together with his mother, walikolabo, kind of wash Mr. Isaac when he was blind, he couldn't see. And then he blessed them illegally. And then Esau comes and he's crying. He's like, you don't even have one more blessing for me. And the father says, the younger one will rule over the older one. And then one of the things that he tells him that is so profound, he says, he will rule over you, but the day you will become restless, you will break the yoke off your neck. You will break the yoke off your neck. And I usually see it not in terms of, you're struggling to break the yoke off your neck. It was about you need to grow fat and then the yoke will fall off. It can no longer fit. And some of us, we need to grow where some things can no longer fit. Grow in self-awareness. Grow in your relationship with God. Grow in terms of how you show up. Grow in just keep on small improvements, small increments. Keep on growing. And then when you grow, some things will just snap. They will just snap. You'll just wake up one day and you're like, by then I no longer struggle with that. But some of us are so obsessed with that one thing that we don't like. And we keep on obsessing over it and we keep on obsessing over it. And we are still stuck and we're like, but I'm doing so much. Maybe you need to stop doing something. Just keep on growing on being fat. Wenza tu kunaona, anza tu kuongeza weight. And please don't take this literally. Otherwise you will be the last one you will be eaten. Walisema watu wakikimbishwa na monster wale wenye tuko hii size yangu ndio tutakuliwa kwa sababu tutashindwa kukimbia mbio mbio. And so personal growth has to do with just keep on growing, keep on growing. Instead of obsessing over the things that are not working, keep on growing. Just allow yourself to be fat. And then those things will just snap. They will just fall off. And finally, it's fulfilled life. And we've talked about this. It's an indicator. Jesus came so that you may have life in abundance. And it doesn't matter what your story is right now, whether you're going through a divorce, whether you're going through mental breakdown, whatever is happening in your space, that promise in John 10:10 is for you. The fulfilled life, where one day you will wake up and you are so full. And being full is on your terms. Some of us, it's because we are so obsessed and stuck on our script. You remember when you're talking about your checklist in life in terms of the boxes that you need to tick? It's because it doesn't look the way you had envisioned. But can you just throw it away and ask God, what does fulfilled life look like to me? If you give me a fulfilled life on your terms, what will it look like? How will I feel? What will be happening in my life? That is what I want. I want fulfilled life on your terms, not on my terms, not anymore. And let me tell you, some of us here, we will do amazing things. We'll become amazing women just because this fulfilled life is something we have accessed and it's something we are living out. And it's because we know who we are in Christ. It's not about the checklist and all the things that are the boxes that we ticked and then right now they are cancelled. It has nothing to do with that. This promise of God is for you and it is unconditional as long as you are depending on Him to lead you into this place. And so what does emotional makeover look like? Hi, Leah. I know Leah is here. Look at how pretty she looks there. And that is Sally. And that is that is Faith. Yeah, these are my good girlfriends. And this was during a conference. We are resuming these conferences. They used to be called, they'll be called Get Your Ball Back. But by this specific one was called Goodbye Comfort Zone. Before that, we had Fearless Courage. So we used to have themed conferences for women. This was in 2018, 2017. And these pretty girls are the ones who used to just get it done. Like I really, really honor them. So emotional makeover, what does it look like? Number one, you will stop relying on approval of others to feel good about yourself. You'll also stop struggling with guilt and shame. When you're feeling angry, you're feeling disappointed, instead of you realizing how much it's costing you and what people are doing to you, you just get stuck and you start feeling angry, you start feeling guilt and shame because you're feeling all these other emotions. I'm disappointed, and so I start feeling guilty that I'm disappointed. I'm angry, I start feeling ashamed of myself, or even sad. The other thing, you'll stop believing you don't have a choice over your current situations, because yes, you do. You have a choice. Imagine nobody is holding a gun on your head to be where you are. You have a choice. And then you'll stop rescuing everyone, even when it's their fault and within their capacity to handle. Some of us have been rescuing toxicity, and that is why we are always stuck with it. You'll also stop giving up on your hopes and dreams because you're so focused on being there in quotes for others. You keep on feeling like, I have to be there for them. I have to be there for them. Even your children. There's how you can be there for your children that is dysfunctional. You need to be there for them in a functional way where your life is also functioning. Yeah, Leah, hi. So you need to stop giving up on your dreams and your hopes and all those desires you have, because God put them in you and He wants to fulfill them, even in this season. And then you need to stop saying yes, even when you should be saying no. Some of us have just been saying yes, unasemanga yes, alafu later una regret no. You will start saying yes when you mean yes and no when you mean no. And you say it to everyone's face so that they can learn to respect your boundaries. And then you also stop being the nice person who doesn't disagree with others and speak up your mind, because some of us, where we are stuck, it's because we don't allow people to know our mind and to know our heart and to know our desires. The other thing, you also need to stop feeling exhausted and resentful because you've been trying to do it all. You learn to do only what is enough and what is necessary. And of course, you'll stop being afraid of others seeing your weaknesses and flaws. Some of us are overprotective. You are overdoing things. You are overprotecting yourself at so much expenses because you don't want other people to think you're weak or you have flaws. And honestly, I've really struggled personally being vulnerable, like even in terms of even asking for help, needing other people. It's something I've had to learn. I've really had to learn that, especially now with my friends and especially in my working circles. In a way, I'm able to admit by the way I'm stuck, I need help, I need support. That is something I never used to do. I just used to feel like I can wing it, I can do it. And it's a dysfunctional space to live in. And so what is the evidence? These are some of the evidences you'll see in your life. And this is the fruit of the Spirit. I was actually discussing it today with the preteens and the teens in terms of this is the evidence of someone who is functional and someone who is doing well. These things should become a result. There as a result. Like these are things that become visible. Just the way fruit appears in a tree, you can see any mango, these things should be visible in your life. And they will come as a result of you adjusting all those places we've talked about and mentioned. And so love is natural, joy is natural, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, faithfulness, and self-control. These places will just fall into place for you. And you will really enjoy just living in this realm where all these things are accessible and available. All right, and so here comes the long list that needs to be read. So I'm going to request for some help. Wants to read? One of you can just unmute yourself and read, because I'm not sure who is in a quiet place. Just feel free. Who wants to read for us this long text of Galatians 5?
I hope I'm audible.
You are very audible. Thanks
Galatians chapter 5.
Mm-hmm.
You're welcome. Galatians 5:1. Christ has set us free to live a free life. So take your stand. Never again let anyone put a harness of slavery on you. 13-14. It is absolutely clear that God has called you to a free life. Just make sure that you don't use this freedom as an excuse to do whatever you want to do and destroy your freedom. Rather, use your freedom to serve one another in love. That's how freedom grows. For everything we know about God's word is summed up in a single sentence. Love others as you love yourself. That's an act of true freedom. 16-17. My counsel is this: live freely, animated and motivated by God's Spirit. Then you won't feed the compulsions of selfishness. For there is a root of sinful self-interest in us that is at odds with the free spirit, just as the free spirit is incompatible with selfishness.
Oh la la. I really love this text. I never get over it. This version is called the Message version. This is usually one of my favorites, the pinned ones. And just remembering that it's time to take your stand. It's time to let nobody at all put a harness of slavery on you. And then, of course, this talks about the vibes. Like Galatians is just about how do we live in that space where we're living free and animated by the Spirit of God. There's someone else who wanted to read, so please, you can take it up from there. Who had unmuted themselves? Go ahead and read. Or anyone else can read. Na mtu mwingine anataka kusoma?
Yeah, I can read.
All right, Nyawera, go for it. Thank you.
It's from 19 to 21.
Yeah, just keep on reading up to the end.
Okay, so it is obvious what kind of life develops out of trying to get your own way all the time. Repetitive, loveless. Oops. Sorry.
The excited word just came up directly. You're like, "Ay, iko kwa Bible kweli." Yeah, go
sorry,
ahead.
sorry. My background is noisy. Maybe someone else can read.
Oh, okay. So I didn't mind.
Okay.
You want to read?
Repetitive, loveless, cheap sex. A stinking accumulation of mental and emotional garbage, frenzied and joyless grabs for happiness, trinket God's magic show religion, paranoid loneliness, cutthroat competition, all consuming yet never satisfied wants, a brutal temper, an impotence to love or to be loved, or beloved, divided homes and divided lives, small-minded and lopsided pursuits, the vicious habit of depersonalizing everyone who into a rival, uncontrolled and uncontrollable addictions, ugly parodies of community. I could go on. This isn't the first time I have warned you. You know, if you use your freedom this way, you will not inherit God's kingdom.
Yeah, thank you. Hey, Nyawera, you read like a ninja. And thanks for just
Thank you.
for just braving it with your kids. All right,
you.
Maureen, I can see you want to read next. But I just wanted us to note, like, these are the things that we don't want to see in our lives. All these things that are mentioned here, this accumulation of even emotional garbage, all this, because these are the things that develop because we want to get things out of our way. You know, we want to get things our own way. We don't want to depend on God. We don't want to allow Him to eliminate those places in our souls that are needy, that are probably hungry. And so these are the things that keep on showing up. Yeah, this version is called the Message version. Even to the Message, Ujumbe, the Message version. It's very interesting. Okay, Maureen, read for us this bit. Maureen? Maureen wanted to read for us. Hi, Maureen.
Yeah.
There you are.
I'm there.
Read for us.
But what happens when we live God's way? He brings gifts into our lives, much the same way that fruits appear in an orchard, things like affection for others, exuberance about life, serenity. We develop a willingness to stick with things, a sense of compassion in the heart, and a conviction that a basic holiness permeates things and people. We find ourselves involved in loyal commitments, not needing to force our way in life, able to mature and direct our energies wisely. Since this is the kind of life we have chosen, the life of the Spirit, let us make sure that we do not just hold it as an idea in our heads or a sentiment in our hearts, but work out its implications in every detail of our lives. That means we will not compare ourselves with each other as if one of us were better and another was. We have far more interesting things to do with our lives. Each of us is original.
Awesome. Yeah. So I'm not even going to the details of explaining this. I can see we are already behind time. Yeah, but I just love this picture. Like, this is what I want to see. And the previous slide is what I don't want to see in my life. And how can I be intentional to make sure these things are visible? The other things are also diminishing. In a way, I am living freely. I'm allowing myself to live animated. I'm allowing myself to really enjoy this sense of coming alive to myself. An emotionally bold woman is not a motivational or feel good emotional win program. There are so many assignments that you need to do. We don't motivate people in coaching. We actually help people get the work done, because if you don't do the work, there'll be no transformation. And so it's not just like flipping through and watching so many things. In this program, if you don't do the work, nothing happens. And that is a coaching principle, because coaching is an action-oriented program. And so this program is not a feel-good emotional program. You will feel many emotions, but we will still require you to do the work. And of course, we'll be keeping you accountable. I'll be following up on you if you're on this program to make sure you do the assignments. You know, the other one was group coaching. In group coaching, we don't follow up on you. We assume everyone, it is a self-paced kind of a program. But this one, because it's a timed program, it has timelines. I need to keep you accountable. And of course, I have a team that is working with me. Then you will get to do the work. You will get a lot of support. We have a Google Classroom where you will come in. Everything will be uploaded there for you to access it, so that you also do it at your own pace. And you have 7 days to do the assignments, so that the following days are, you just keep on moving and moving and moving. And then the other thing is, it's not a lecture with tons of notes and links to catch up on breathlessly. This program is supposed to be experiential for you. It's supposed to help you process what is going on in your life. So it's not so much of external information, but it's insights to help you process what is already happening in your space. And then it's also not a passive hangout in terms of mimi nimekuja hapa afanye job. I coach you to play your best game with proved winning strategies. All these strategies that we use in coaching, they are tried and tested. These things have worked. They have worked for me personally. Some of the things I share in this coaching program are personal tools, things that I've developed, things that I've experienced. And of course, it's really, really, really solid in terms of the impact and impact assessment that has been done in the past. And when you join the Emotionally Bold Woman, what are you signing up for? Number one, you'll be getting EBW workbook. Every week we have a new workbook. So you'll be getting weekly printables with assignments and journaling spaces. And so every week you'll be getting a workbook that is less than 10 pages. You will print it, or you can get an editable version, and then you will just be using that. Every week you have a new workbook, and they are amazing because they are experiential. You get to really process what was happening in the session. The other thing, you get solid support from me and your tribe of women. So you guys will be added into a group. You'll be together there. And of course, there is right now it's one free coaching session. So I'll need to correct that, but on the contract, it's corrected. And then of course, weekly coaching, you'll have online classes. We have an active WhatsApp group, Ask Paps video. So I'll be responding to personal questions that anyone wants to ask. Do a short video so that you can just get like more information, because sometimes you just want to process what's happening even in your own life. For example, you've come across an obstacle. Of course, in this season that we had, we were answering the questions live in class, but sometimes we'll just have those times that we would want to ask privately, and then I will do a video so that the others can also learn from your question. And then the next thing that will happen is post-program. We have a 40 days emotional health support group and physical hangouts afterwards. So once you're done with this program, it's 8 weeks. So that means it will run the whole of May, the whole of June. At the end, you will start a 40 days emotional health support program. And right now it's actually going on for the class which did this program. So they are going through small groups. There are actually 3. So you're just 3, you meet together every day to pray together and reflect through some questions. And I'm getting amazing testimonials from this. And of course, you'll also get to join a physical hangout afterwards. So we'll have a retreat in July where we will all meet, the 2 seasons will meet, so that we can just hang out together and reflect on our journey. And so what is the launch offer? Of course, this is the 2nd season we are doing, and the value of this program is 100,000. And so what we are doing this time, we are giving an offer of 50% off. And so you will pay 50,000 instead of 100,000 to join this season. And so that is season 2. So for these 2 coaching programs, like the coaching program with the 8 sessions, plus the program that we shall be doing, plus the retreats, and the 40 days devotional that we shall be doing, all this, we are giving you an offer of 50,000. And of course, if you're able to pay one off by 1st May, you'll get a whole 20% discount off, and you will pay 40,000. And so I'm really encouraging you to take advantage of this opportunity. And so in this package, you're getting 8 group coaching sessions. So we shall be meeting together. This program is usually less than 10 people, which is always ideal, so that you can get to interact, we get to share. You guys will be going to small groups every week.
This Zoom session usually has a feature called breakout rooms, where you guys can go into smaller groups during the session. And so you shall be going to check in every week. We check in terms of how are you doing, how are you feeling. So you'll be having yourselves in smaller groups checking in. And so this group coaching session is because you're also getting support from other women. And then there'll be one personal coaching session. And of course, the support group will be going on throughout for you to just get into a community where we share our testimonials every day after the class. We come back to the WhatsApp group and we just share how we are doing, how we are feeling during the week. We share our progress, we share what is happening. We just get to really journey together, and it's been really exciting. There's sometimes last month I was posting some of the things that women share there, of course anonymously, and it was amazing. And then of course the 40 days resource in small groups, post the ABW masterclass, you will get all this support from your crew. And maybe you may be feeling like you don't have time, you are not able to join a group, then we have a special offer for one-on-one coaching. You can take this program as a personal journey, and the value is 200,000. But then I'll be giving a 50% off offer, so that for 100,000 you will get the 8 sessions, you will get 10 sessions one-on-one coaching. So 8 will be focused on the program itself, and then 2 will be personal coaching to just help you on anything personal that is happening. So we usually have personal coaching sessions before and then afterwards. And then of course you'll get unlimited support for 6 months. So I will be accessible to you for 6 months. I'll probably be scheduling periodic meetings to just keep on supporting you, even post the program, to just check on how you're doing, and then access to all the group sessions class. So you'll still be able to join this group session, and you're still having your personal coaching sessions, which will be double value for you. And I'm giving it at a one-off of 80,000 by 1st May. So if you're able to pay 80,000 by 1st May, then you'll be able to get this offer of the special one-on-one coaching, and the regular price is 100,000. And so I'll really encourage you to take advantage of this offer. And so what have women who have done our coaching program said about it? So Grace said it brought to life a whole dimension that I knew I was seeking, but didn't have the answers to, and I didn't have the time, and I didn't know how and where to start. That session has kickstarted a whole journey that I feel I'm now willing, and I now feel willing and ready to embark on. And then Alice says the reflections, I don't take time to reflect, to feel, and to heal. This program has forced me to do that in a space that is authentic, comfortable, and non-judgmental. And then Winnie said, meeting new people, getting to be part of something that has changed my whole perspective on life, finding people who pray for me and ask me how I'm doing, it showed love that I had not known in a long while. Yeah, by the way, we really love God in this program, and we'll journey with you in that place as well. And then Joyce said, I see a future me in you, fearless, bold, confident, and apologetically comfortable in the space that God has me. And then Lucy said, this is therapy based on truths of God. And then Anne is here. I'm going to allow her to share her testimonial briefly. So you just hear about Anne. Anne has done this emotionally bold woman. She was in Woman Arise. She's been in so many Woman Arises, even helping me do the facilitation. She's an amazing person. And so I'm going to read your testimonial. Anne, are you here? You're here?
Yes, I'm here, Pops.
Awesome. So Anne shared her testimonial a while ago. This is around 3 years ago when she did the Woman Arise. And she said, with a realistic approach to coaching, she inspires women to look at themselves from God's eyes. What does God say about me, regardless of what life traditions, people, and circumstances say about me? Anne had shared about this. It's actually in I just picked it from my Facebook page. She did a review there. And so I'm going to allow Anne to just share her testimonial and her journey of being my client and also being my colleague. She'll just share her journey in terms of how it has been for her. So Anne, please go ahead.
Hi, ladies. Can see me, right?
Yeah,
hey.
Let me stop sharing a bit so that we can see you.
Okay.
Yeah, there you are.
Good evening. My name is Anne Kemunto, and I want to thank God for this program, and I want to thank God and honor Him for all of you who are still here. We are 50 plus, and this is awesome, even to the very end. I live in Voi, Kenya. I joined the program at the time. It was called there is a program that is called Woman Arise, and I joined it in 2018. In 2018, I hit rock bottom because I went through a crisis. I lost my husband. My husband died in June of 2018, and he had mental illness. He was diagnosed with acute depressive psychosis, and unfortunately, we lost him because he died by suicide. We don't say commit suicide. In the decriminalization of suicide, we say he died by suicide. And because of that, I really, really sank. I was 28 years at the time. I have two daughters. One was aged 8 and the other one was 3 years old. And it really hit me because I didn't see it coming. And society can be really, really cruel. And I thank God for my friend who also became my sister and my colleague. She's called Zipporah. Zipporah sponsored me for this program. She paid for me everything that was needed for the program. And my job was just to get onto a bus or the train, go to Nairobi for the program every Tuesday, be in Nairobi by 3 p.m., attend the program for 2.5 hours, then find a way back to Voi. So I thank God that right now you don't have to travel miles to go for the value of the program. You can get it online, and then you also have time to do the in-person coaching sessions. So what did Womanize do to me? I had lost value for life because I had, my life was tied around my husband. We were very good friends, best friends. I lost my identity. I could not be called Mrs. anymore. I lost my name. So instead of people describing me as go say hi to Anne, they would tell you go say hi to that woman whose husband hung himself. So I lost my name, I lost my identity, I lost my joy, I lost my peace, I lost my status, I lost my friends. I lost the reality of God because I am a firm believer in God, but now I kept asking myself, where is God? Why did it happen? Why are people so mean? Was there no other way for it to happen? But I want to thank God for the program, Woman Arise, because it helped me to get my purpose back, the why of my life. Why am I alive? Who am I? Why am I here? Where am I going? Does my life matter? So I was able to answer those questions. And then it also gave me emotional wellness and wholeness. I actually discovered that some of the things I was struggling with at the time were not related to the death. The death was just a trigger, but I had been carrying lots of wounds from my childhood, my teenagehood, growing up. I had so many wounds, and it's just that this crisis brought them to the surface. And so I managed to process. I remember when I went for the very first programs, like almost 4 of them. Eva is here. Hi, Eva. Eva and Paps could play songs and I would not sing because I would ask them, you're telling me to sing about God's faithfulness. How can I say God is faithful? But they were really patient with me and they allowed me to just sit in those seasons and cry. So for me, this program was more of grief therapy. It helped me to grieve properly, and it led me through the grieving process properly. I can now confidently say that I know why I am alive. I am emotionally whole and still growing towards wholeness. And then I got my confidence boost. I had lost my confidence completely because of having to keep explaining, even to strangers. I remember I walked into an NHIF office and I'm putting there my documents, and then the lady who was serving me looked at the death certificate and then asked me, what did you do to him? I'm like, really, this is a public office. I have come here to seek a public service. Why would you think it was me? Like, I was really blamed about it, and I did not have a chance to defend myself. So I was struggling a lot with validation and trying to get myself back, because I felt like I did my best, but my best was not good enough. I took him to the hospital. I bought the drugs. I was a supportive system. It was job related, but people made it look like it's family related. And it was really, really hurtful and painful. But God has been gracious, and He used Woman Arise as the vehicle towards my healing. And I want to thank God also for the second program, this other one that I have done recently called Emotionally Bold Woman. And for me, one of the greatest lessons I learned is I have nothing to prove to anyone. So long as I honor God and I get the validation I can from Him, even if nobody else gives me validation, then I'm good to go. And then I also learned how to come alive to myself. So many places were dead within me. I was carrying so many dead bones. I don't open up very much to people, to relationships. I'm still very protective of my children because I'm very scared of the future. I am uncertain. And so those feelings were crushing the life within me. So the program has helped me to come alive. And then I've been over functioning a lot. I do my best to make sure I'm not rejected by people. I do my best to make sure that I don't lose love and acceptance. But the program has helped me to find my the right footing of my functioning. I don't have to perform to be loved by anyone. I can be loved just because I am loved. And then lastly, I have been living for people. I have been living to just gain societal approval. I am the woman who can keep a man. You know, there's so much expectation on you. But I want to thank God that I am doing my best. I'm not there yet, but I think I have made meaningful progress. And that's why I'm even able to talk about it right now. So right now, I am in a group. In that group, we are doing a journey called Emotional Healthy Spirituality. And I'm learning that I can't serve God. I can't worship God properly if I'm not emotionally healthy. A wounded heart cannot serve God. You cannot worship God wholeheartedly if your heart is bleeding. So I'm learning to shed off the false self that I've been having on me and then put on a new self for myself and for other people. Maybe lastly, the program has helped me to show up as a better teacher. I am a teacher, so at least I teach better because my confidence is back. And then I'm also showing up as a better mother. I was parenting from a place of fear and guilt, but right now I'm able to parent from a place of purpose. I am here for these children. I may be a widow. I may be parenting alone, but that does not disadvantage me in any way. I don't lose out on anything just because I was widowed young. I don't lose out anything. Nobody has to pity me because I am not married, because I'm widowed, because I'm a survivor of suicide in that sense. I don't have to feel any less of a human being just because of that. So I like sharing my story to tell you that it's okay if you're in a crisis right now. I'm really sorry, but I want to thank God that you're able to come here. What will the program do? It will unearth a lot of wounds that you're carrying. So the crisis could be just something that is unearthing other things that you have been carrying along, but God is faithful. He makes no mistake, and He's able to bring us to the best. So Paps is my coach, she's my friend. I can vouch for her because for me, I feel like she teaches you to look for God for yourself. She is not your solution. She will never be your solution, but she will lead you to the person who can heal you, the person who can bind up your broken wounds. And I like her perspective of, I am a coach, God is your healer. So I'm looking forward to seeing you ladies in the program. You're welcome. We will journey together. We will cry. And if we cry, we'll look for tissue around it. And God bless you. Thank you for taking the opportunity to come here. Over to you, Pops.
Yeah, thank you, Anne. That is very profound. And yeah, thanks for just sharing your story. I never get tired of hearing of it. I'm just looking at Anne as one of the miracles that we have seen in our journey of Woman Arise, and of course, even right now. And she's been such a blessing. The Can became a foot soldier after taking her own journey. She's been such a blessing and a resource to what we do as well. And I really thank God for you. And so we have only 15 slots, and 4 are already taken so far. So we have 15 slots for this season of Emotionally Bold Woman. If you would want to sign now, so you'll need to book your slot by registering by latest 28th April. We will share the link on the group by tonight so that you can get to see the terms and the conditions, and of course to also sign up yourself in terms of what arrangement will work best for you. And of course you can also WhatsApp the Bold Woman tonight if you want to make a tentative reservation. Just feel free to send to my WhatsApp or even to Lillian's WhatsApp. You have the WhatsApp that Lillian communicates with in the group. Yeah, so we have 10 slots available now. And then we'll do a class of 15, but we are really, like last time we had 18 women. So this time we are really hoping to get to 10 women, and we already have 4. So if we get anything, even now, like just the way the class is, we are still happy to really keep going. Let me mute us so that we can have a good recording. And then, of course, when you think about the 8 weeks roadmap, I already shared this, probably to just recap again. Week 1, we shall be doing She Feels All Her Feelings, for you to understand there is no good or bad emotion. Everything that you are going through is communicating something to you. So you just need to become more self-aware and know what to do. And then week 2, she comes alive to herself. What did you give up that used to give you joy and fulfillment? We will discover that together. Week 3, she lives out her truth. How are you living a lie? So that you can be nice and honest to yourself. And then she has nothing to prove, freedom from unnecessary pressures and expectations. And then she blames no one. You will take full ownership of your life. And then she doesn't live for others. You'll stop being a self-sacrificing person and having this martyr complex in your life. And you learn how to live balanced in all your relationships. She doesn't live for others. You'll also, she doesn't overfunction. You'll respect your limits. And just remember, you're not the bread of life. Jesus is. And so you will stop feeling like you have to do everything for everyone. And of course, she has the right mindset, heart set. I added soul set and skill set because on the ground, you will get to know that as well. So the distorted thinkings and we have irrational beliefs that we have, will also deal with them. And so in terms of self-work, what you will need to do, I'd already said this, but this is also a requirement for the Emotionally Bold Woman. We'll need you to buy a hard copy journal for your notes and studies, because we'll have a lot of assignments and we want you to just keep on tracking on them. I'm ever so impressed that Anne still has her notes for the Woman Arise class. Like, she did some good notes that she still has. I usually meet women who still have their notes, and it's because in another season, some things will not make sense right now, but you need to reference them in future. You need to also keep track of who you are right now, so that in future you'll really feel grateful that you are where you are and where you will be. And of course, download either of these journals. We downloaded them in the first class. So if you probably joined the program and you've not been able to catch up on the previous session, this is how they look. Maybe you can take a screenshot of the screen so that you can see what to look out for. So this is My Journey. The first one is My Journey, the one that has 2 boxes. The one that has a feather on it is My Diary app. I use these 2 and they're amazing in terms of they have a password. And so I can just put my thoughts in there and my expressions. I'm really hoping some of us have already learned the journaling skill by just being in here for 1 month. And it was also preparing you for this, because even now you need to keep on journaling. That is how you process emotional. Actually, you can never make emotional progress if you are not processing externally. Like, besides just processing internally and probably praying and fasting, you also need to process externally by allowing what is in your mind and stuck in your heart, get out on a paper. And of course, also get out on an app is still a form of a paper. And so we'll really encourage you to invest in this. And of course, on the self-work, you need to go through the emotional chart for emotional vocabulary. So you will get all these resources when you join the program. We will put you in our WhatsApp group, and then we will share the emotional chart so that you can learn how to express your emotions appropriately. You'll also learn how to track your emotion every day and keep a journal. We'll keep on checking on you. And of course, also in your group every week, you'll be checking on whether you've managed to journal, how is it going. You'll also get to sign the coaching contract and choose the payment plan that you want. And of course, replay Catch the Wind and I'm Confident songs. When you join the class and we allow you to get into the Google Classroom, you will find all this. Like, we usually have songs for the week. We have resources for the week. We have videos we watch for the week. We also have the slides for the week. Like, for example, if you needed to access the slides, they will be in the classroom, and then you can just go through them again if there's anything you wanted to clarify and something you've missed. And then we'll also be uploading the recorded sessions in the class for the sessions that will be coming up. But this one is already available on YouTube, so you can definitely go and watch it from there if you need to. And so you've nothing to lose. When you join our programs, we promise you 100% refund with no questions asked. If you feel this program is not a good fit for you within 14 days, you can ask for your money back. You know, you feel like it's not a good fit for me, I'm not sure this is a program I want to be in. It's a risk-free program. And so in the next 2 weeks, so if you do session 1, you do session 2, you've already paid and you're like, I don't think this is what I want. We are happy to refund you 100% and with no questions asked. We won't tell you to fill a form or anything. And then, of course, the other thing is track record for me as your coach. I just consider myself, by the grace of God, a highly skilled coach and psychologist. I have done 14,362 hours of coaching, and that is in the 17 years. And so you can be trusting that, of course, these programs that we are doing, they are highly researched. You know, they've been tried and tested. They are well thought out and well planned to be effective for you. And of course, I've journeyed with 5,000 teens in 14 years, close to 800 women in the 5 years since we started these programs. And then, of course, close to 250 mentors in 3 years. Right now, with the launch of the Leading Generations, we'll probably be getting to more schools and coaching more mentors to journey with your children so that your families can also be happier places. And of course, close to 600 parents in 3 years. And even tomorrow night, we have a parenting coaching session in the Leading Generations group. And then, of course, thank you for being here. I'm really, really excited to just have you as part of my coaching networks. And of course, these offers are valid up to 4th February midnight. 4th February is not true. It's actually from 1st May. And so the next class will be in July. Honestly, this slide is from last time. Let me just skip it. But of course, that is the till number. In case you need to pay, we'll post all the details in the group and you will get it. And then the last thing is nice meeting you. So if this is our first time meeting, my name is Paps Wanyugi. I'm a certified life coach, psychologist, and author. And I'm on a mission to inspire people to create the extraordinary life they desire and deserve. Because yes, you desire that extraordinary life, you also deserve it. And I'm your go-to coach if you're on a quest on purpose, clarity, emotional healing, or a confidence boost. You are in the right space. And I run a variety of coaching outfits to nurture intentionality and confidence. I work with women, preteens and teens, and then together with my husband, we work with parents and couples. And then I'm also the author of Reconfidence, Get Your Ball Back, and Leading Generations, which is the book we will be launching on 6th May. It's a handbook for mentoring 21st century teenagers in Africa and preteens as well. And I'm on socials. I'm happy to follow you back. Look up Coach Paps Wanyugi on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok. I'm in all those places. And you can also check out my YouTube channel. If you've not subscribed, subscribe. Yeah, please do. And so it's so nice meeting you and just being here together at night. And so this is the journey of Woman Arise, Reconfidence, all the things. These are the faces behind all the programs we've done. Yeah, and really, really celebrating them tonight for just being part of the journey, part of the process, and just different stories. These are all God stories in Woman Arise, in Reconfidence, in Facing Giants, which is our kids program, in Leading Change, which is our mentors program, in Parenting on Track, which is our parenting program. And what else? And of course, I can also see Celine here. We've also done amazing things together. And of course, I've also been on several media channels. I usually do contributions on BBC. And of course, going back also to other channels from next month. And so I'm sure we'll be connecting on all the different spaces. And of course, grab your copy of Reconfidence book if you haven't. I'm also looking forward to see you guys on the book launch, which will be on 6th May. It will be on Kiambu Road. Yeah, please make sure you sign up to come. Just come and let's hang out. Let's celebrate, especially parents who are here. Yeah, moms who are here. Yeah, we'll be so excited to have you there. That book is about mentoring 21st century teenagers and just covering different aspects of things that children are struggling with in this generation, in this time and age. And you'll really want to just come and be part of it. It will be a practical session. It's not really this celebrity kind of Paps is there and we are all here watching her. It's actually us doing things together. So we'll play games, we'll have fun. You'll get to hear testimonials of people who have gone through the different programs I've done for the children. And of course, also parents who have been part of my journey and also people who have mentored me and journeyed with me in this journey of coaching and mentorship. All right, God bless you. We are at the tail end of our journey together. And of course, like I said, we are still keeping the group. So we'll really encourage you to stay on if you want to know what's next and what will be coming next. Of course, next month we shall be having a webinar. I'm inviting a coach who will come and just take us through healing inner abuse. She's done a book on that. And she helps women who are in abusive relationships. So that will also be very beneficial for you. But the
main thing this month will just be to get you to really process. So if you can be able to join the Emotionally Bold Woman, you will really be glad that you did it. Of course, this is an investment on yourself. I know we invest in lands, we invest in other things that benefit other people, and sometimes they benefit people after we are long gone, but this is something that you're doing for yourself so that you can benefit you. I know, so I want you to share probably quickly before you leave what has stood out for you in this session. I know we are at 10:11. Can you imagine?